This is so much fun to see everyone. So take some time to just flip through and see the beautiful faces. You're more than welcome to use the chat box if you have thoughts. We would love to hear them, or if you want to just say anything. And later we'll share names for the Misha Berach through the chat box. But that's always a beautiful commentary as we make our way through the service.
So as we begin, the beauty of Zoom is that all of us from all these different places can be here together. And even those of you who are close together can be safely at home during this rather difficult time. But as I'm sure everybody has figured out, there are some Zoom limitations. So we're going to ask at this point for everybody to mute themselves for the remainder of the service. We can chat again a little bit at the end. We are going to start with Havdalah. And I'm actually going to begin with a paragraph that we don't usually hear, but is actually traditionally the opening of Havdalah, and this is the opening line. Hinel Yeshuati eftach velo evchan ki ozi vezimrat Adonai vayhi li Yeshua. Behold, God is my deliverance. I am confident and unafraid, for God is my strength and my song. Adonai will be my salvation. We're going to take a few moments here to quiet our minds, to bring focus to our prayers of healing. For with God as our source of strength, we can face our brokenness. We can bring healing to ourselves and to others as we sing God's song. For indeed, God is our strength and our song. Ozi vezimerat vayhi li Yeshua. 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 Ozi vezimerat vayhi li Yeshua.
Havdalah marks a distinction between holy time and secular time. Yet during this time of COVID, the distinctions between time have become blurred. Work and home, professional and personal, day and night. We wake up uncertain of which day we are welcoming. Shabbat helps us to mark the sacred, and Havdalah brings and hearkens us back to the real. The rituals of Havdalah, of tasting wine, of smelling spices, of seeing a multi-wick flame, and of its extinguishing help to set us straight. Shabbat is now over. The work of healing our world beckons us.
First blessing, Borei Pri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei Pri Hagafen. Borei Pri Hagafen. Second blessing, Borei Mine Besamim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei Mine Besamim. Borei Mine Besamim. Third blessing, Meorei Ha'esh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei Meorei Ha'esh. Borei Meorei Ha'esh. Final blessing, Hamavdil ben Kodesh Lefol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben Kodesh Lefol. Hamavdil ben Kodesh Lefol.
I love when my Black colleagues and my Black friends refer to me as their sister. It means that I have earned my place standing beside them. I do not take it for granted, and I know that I must earn this familial title again and again. This new week's Parsha called Vayigash is about reconciliation, repairing and rebuilding family relations. Similarly, the service called Reclaiming Wholeness is about repairing relationships with our global family, with our congregational family, with the families with which we were raised, with our own selves. Our healing service first focuses on the broader healing that we seek, the societal strife that needs settling. 2020 has left our society hurt and broken in so many ways. A global pandemic, political polarization, racial injustice, unemployment, homelessness, and more. All of these things, they disturb our equanimity. In Hebrew, that word is called menuchat hanefesh, which means the calming of the soul. Our Torah offers us a glimpse and a path to the greater peace and reconciliation that we seek. For 22 years, Joseph and his brothers have been apart. no doubt replaying in their minds the hurtful words that were spoken and the harmful acts that were committed. Arrogance and jealousy, deception and lies, talebearing, and even selling into slavery. Today in our parsha, Joseph, having changed himself and having witnessed his brother's changes, he breaks down. He discloses his identity to his brothers and he weeps, saying, Ani Yosef achichem, I am Joseph, your brother. What makes the healing possible? What makes healing possible? Even though it was Joseph who was wronged and could rightfully and justifiably have been vengeful, Joseph is able to see his brother's transformation and is willing to take the first step to healing the broken past. Former President Ronald Reagan has a quote that captures reconciliation really well. He said, "Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the ability to handle conflict. Peace is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means." Like Joseph, what first steps can we take to create a better world with those who stand on the other side of a metaphoric divide? How can we see those in our world, in our country, and our community as brothers and sisters? And how can we take a first step towards healing? In October of 1960, Pope John XXIII, whose secular name was Joseph Roncalli, he requested a meeting with world Jewish leaders. And when they entered the room, Pope John's first words to them were, Ani Yosef achichem, I am Joseph, your brother. After centuries upon centuries of pain caused to the Jewish community by harmful Catholic teachings, Pope John XXIII recognized the close relationship that Christians have with Jews and that human beings have with all humanity. So to heal first our societal pain, whether it's been due to COVID or to political turmoil or the economic crisis in which we now find ourselves, we need to reconcile, as did the biblical Joseph and the Pope who was born with the name Joseph. So how do we bring about that step to reconciliation and healing? We do it simply by seeing the humanity of the other, by looking into the eyes of the other in our world and saying, Ani Yosef, or Ani Andy, or Ani Judy. I am Joseph, I am Andy, your brother. I am Judy, your sister. To reclaim wholeness, we need to look into the eyes of the person we see as other and see our common humanity, our common family, our common path forward, which together we must walk. Like Joseph, we need to be willing to take the first step. And then all that has divided us will merge. And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will. And then all will be rich and free and varied. And then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again.
Rabbi Judy, are you waiting on Cantor Bernard?
Yes.
Okay, so he lost power, and it's just going to be a couple minutes before he is back on. He had to reboot, so he
Okay, well,
apologizes.
he is going to sing a beautiful Olam Chesed Yibaneh. And I promise you that my singing Olam Chesed Yibaneh will not be healing. But if we have someone, do we have anyone in our choir who can start us off in Olam Chesed Yibaneh? Any singers with us? We have CJ. CJ, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you start Olam Chesed Yibaneh till Cantor Bernard gets here?
Sure.
And we'll just sing it. We'll add our voices. You can unmute and add your voices till he gets back and sings it with us.
All right. I guess I'll just go for it. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yalalai, 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 lai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yalalai, yadai, yadadai, dai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Die, 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 die. I will build this world from love. Die, 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 die. And you must build this world from love. Die, 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 die.
Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Dai, Dai, Yadadai, Dai. 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 I will build this world from love. Yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. And you must build this world from love. Yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai, then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. A reading. Oneness at the heart of all life. May I let go of the pettiness within myself and transform myself into a conduit of love. Let me be healing and comfort for those who are tired and ill. Let me be nourishment for the hungry. Let me be a shield for those who are helpless and afraid. Let me be a lamp to those who dwell in the dark. May I be a haven for the troubled, a guide for the lost, a voice for those who cannot speak. Let all those I meet come away feeling better for having encountered me. If we've learned anything over the past 9 months, it's how much we rely on community, rely on each other to support us as we try to cope with having our lives turned completely upside down. Whether our challenges, our personal challenges, are due to health or economics or isolation, Whether we are naturally drawn to crowds or, as some of us, to solitude, we have still found that support and encouragement from others has been essential to navigating this difficult year. This need has, however, been attacked by the atmosphere of polarization that has overwhelmed our country. Whether you are immersed in health policy or politics, the divides that have been a stumbling block to outreach and to understanding. Letting go of our own anger or frustration is an essential first step so that we may be open to those with whom we may disagree, but to whom, more importantly, we want to extend our hands. Because it is only by extending our hands that we may become a shelter for each other from life's storms. Ruach Elohim, may God bless you and keep you, bring you from the light and safe from harm. May the love of friends be your shelter from every storm. Yevarecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. Ruach Elohim, may God's Spirit be with you, bring you to the light and loving arms. Together we will be a shelter from every storm. Together we will be a shelter from every storm. Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom.
We began with reconciliation with our world. We moved to healing the divisions with those whom we interact. And the final stage of healing is reconciliation with ourselves, working on healing ourselves, focusing inward. This final segment of our Reclaiming Wholeness service focuses on personal healing, our own healing, and the healing of others whom we know and whom we love, who are struggling. So many people are suffering at this moment. And Joseph wept, our Torah tells us. Joseph could no longer refrain himself before all that stood before him, the Torah tells us, and he cried. He says, cause every man to go out from before me. And there stood no Egyptian with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh could hear his wailing. Joseph weeps 7 times in the final 8 chapters of Genesis. In this week's Parsha, Joseph's tears move Benjamin to tears as well. It was an emotional meeting of brothers. It was an emotional healing. Facing our fears, facing our pain, facing illness is hard. It is emotional. It is consuming. It is raw, and it is real. There is healing in letting go and admitting that we need healing. There is healing in allowing others to help us heal. There's healing in prayer. There's healing in silence. There is healing in song. There is healing in tears. So we now take time to pray for healing. For those around us to heal from grief, which is so great. And for those around us to heal from illness due to COVID, due to cancer, due to aging and accidents and the fallibilities and the frailties and the genetics of our human bodies. There are the healing steps that Joseph took towards his brothers, and there are the healing steps that his brothers took towards him. And there is healing in the steps that we take toward our own selves. So let us now allow ourselves to take steps forward to our own healing like Joseph. Let us allow ourselves, as we hear the Mishaberach soon, let us allow ourselves to feel our hurt, to feel our brokenness, and let us allow ourselves to acknowledge the healing we need for ourselves. I pose this challenge to my spirit, to receive with open mind and heart what is offered to me. May I learn to embrace as easily as I evaluate. May I quiet the ever-present instinct to judge and critique. May I cultivate the gift of listening without framing a reply. May I learn to accept help from those who care for me. May I grow less insistent that life bend to my will and expectations. May generosity of spirit find a home within me. When Debbie Friedman would lead a monthly healing service at my congregation, the first congregation where I served in Scarsdale, New York, she would always insist that the first time she sing the Mishaberach, she sing it for everyone in the congregation. And so for the 60 of you in this congregation right now, I want you, as Cantor Bernard sings, to close your eyes and to hear him singing the Mishaberach for all of you. And then we will share names and we will sing the Mishaberach for all those we know who are in need of healing.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
That first Mishaberach was for every one of you, the 60 of you in this room. But now we invite you to share names of all those who are struggling with illness in the chat box. Write their names as Cantor Bernard sings, lift your voice, and offer those prayers. Read each name. We take each name into our hearts and we lift them up. As we ask God to heal those we love with body, renewal of body and renewal of soul.
Of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. and let us say, Amen.
Cantor Bernard, I don't know if you know, but in your absence, your technological glitch, we had CJ fill in. So you taught your student well, and he just started with Olam Chesed Yebaneh. I will fill this world with love. So you have created students who can fill in. I thought that my voice would not bring healing. We each use our gifts to bring healing in our own ways. So we're gonna conclude with a really powerful teaching on healing. But before we do, I want to thank Cantor Bernard, because I called him with this crazy idea saying we really need a service of healing and a Havdalah in healing, and he chimed in and does it with expertise and skill and gifts. And to see all of you here fills my heart with joy and our hearts with joy. We need healing. So we will be doing this, I think, every other month. And we thank you for joining us. At the end of this service, we will stay on and chat and catch up. But Reb Nachman of Bratslav, one of my top favorite rabbis, he died young. He struggled with depression, and he had amazing teachings on healing. And he was an 18th century, late 18th century rabbi. He said that there were 10 Psalms, right? In the book of Psalms, there are 150 Psalms, but he picked out 10 of them. And he said, if you offer these 10 Psalms every day, you will find a general remedy, a general healing. He called it tikkun haklali, a general repair or general healing. If we recite the 10 Psalms he picked out each day, we will find that wholeness that we desire. And if you study these Psalms, each one addresses a critical concept to healing: forgiveness and anger and despair and guilt and so on. But the final Psalm of his 10 and the final Psalm of the 150 chapters of Psalms is a psalm of joy. For healing to happen, we need to find joy. So that is the commandment we want you to follow in the week ahead, is to make sure every day you stop and you find reason to rejoice. Psalm 150 enjoins us to praise God with every breath that we have, and to praise God with every instrument that we have. And as you listen to this song that Cantor Bernard will sing, with which we close this service, you'll see that there are 9 instruments with which we must praise God. We have the trumpet and the harp and the lyre and the drum and the organ and the flute and the cymbal and more. But there are 9 instruments with which we are meant to praise God, so we can pull out our pots and pans and music and praise God. But the 10th that makes the minyan is each one of you. The 10th instrument is us. We are the vessels and instruments to join into this song of rejoicing. So may we find joy in this music. May we find joy in our lives. May we find joy in each other.
Hallelujah. shofar, hallelujah, v'never v'kinor, hallelujah, v'tofu mahol, hallelujah, v'minim v'ugar, hallelujah, 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 v'tzil tzalei shama, hallelujah, v'tzil tzalei trua, hallelujah, v'tzil tzalei shama, hallelujah, v'tzil tzalei trua, hallelujah, te hallelujah, hallelujah, Amohan Shama, te hallelujah, hallelujah.
And we say, Shavua Tov, may you have a great week.
Shavua Tov.